Hello friends, welcome back to Learn English Master. Today we are going to discussing about Elizabethan prose. What are the importance of Elizabethan prose? And the next one, the 18th century literature. Why was 18th century literature called the age of prose and reason? Let's begin. Elizabethan prose works were meditation of experienced, learned, and trained minds. They were in forms of essays, pamphlets, tracts, treatises, translations, travel narratives, and sermons. Francis Bacon was the most influential writer of this period. He wrote in Latin and English. His major works are essays, The Advancement of Learning, The History of Henry VII, Apophthegms. Apophthegms means the meanings of learning, the meanings of maximums or aphorisms, and the New Atlantis, which was unfinished at his death. Other important works of this period are Roger Hastings' Toxophilus, a treatise in the forms of dialogue on archery, John Lilly's Ephesus, The Anatomy of Wit, and its sequel, Ephesus and his England, which is a kind of travel romance. Philip Sidney's Arcadia, a prose pastoral romance, and Defense of Spouses, a treatise defending poetry from the objections made by Stephen Gossens in his essay, The School of Abuse. We know it's also a famous one of them. Richard Hooker's Of the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity. Thomas Overbury's Characters. It is a series of character sketches of the well-known types. And the last one, Robert Burton's The Anatomy of Melancholy. Friends, next we are going to discussing about 18th century literature. Especially, why was the 18th century called an age of prose and reason? The 18th century was called the age of prose and reason by Matthew Arnold in his book The Study of Poetry. He called it so because at that time the tendency was to write in prose. The writers believed in the didactic prose of literature. Prose writers of that time used a simple, easily understandable language. There was only one famous poet then, Alexander Pope. But there were many great prose writers: Joseph Addison, Richard Steele, Jonathan Swift, Daniel Defoe, and Samuel Johnson. Jonathan Swift wrote the best prose in his The Tale of Tube, an argument against abolishing Christianity, Gulliver's Travels, and A Modest Proposal. Joseph Addison and Richard Steele also wrote in fine prose. When Steele started his magazine, Tatler, Addison became a regular contributor. Later, they together began the magazine The Spectator. Dr. Samuel Johnson was another great writer. His writings often appeared in the Gentleman's Magazine. In 1747, he began working on his dictionary and wrote periodical essays for the Rambler. In 1765, he published the edition of Shakespeare. Its preface became a landmark in Shakespearean criticism. His last major works was The Lives of Poets, which had short biographies and critical appraisals of 52 poets. Daniel Defoe, who wrote Robinson Crusoe, is another important prose writer of the 18th century. Other important writers of the century were Oliver Goldsmith, Edward Gibbon, and Edmund Burke. Hi friends, if you like this video, please share and subscribe my channel. See you again with Victorian prose writers and Leigh Motto the author. Thank you.